Hey everyone, it's Maurice Thibodeau here, and in the last Living on Purpose event, we introduced this concept called the YIDE, your year inspiring defining event. So in this video, I'm going to give context and explain what that is. I'm going to give some tips and hints on how to pick a YIDE that's going to be fulfilling in your life. And that's going to be it. So if you watch this, know that this is a practice, a living on purpose practice that if you do, you're going to get to look back at a lifetime of defining events. And this is about creating and taking the time to create those experiences in your life that you could look back and you say, wow, this is the life that I'm living. So that's what we're working towards. And I'll explain it like this. First of all, where did this come from, this concept? Where did I learn about it? I learned about it from this amazing individual, Jesse Isler. And he is an American entrepreneur, hugely inspiring. And one of the things that he does in his life planning system is you put one thing on the calendar in a year that you never thought you could do, and you go out and you get it done. He doesn't call it a YIDE. Jesse calls it a misoki, and that's coming from the Japanese tradition of where people in the Japanese culture will prepare for this journey towards, in the mountains, a waterfall. And you would sit under the waterfall and be purified, and it's usually in the Japanese tradition, it's a rite of passage that people prepare for and look forward to, and it becomes a transforming event in their life. So whether you call it, if you're familiar with Jesse's work, whether you call it a misoki, a YIDE, it doesn't really matter. This is about you choosing something extraordinary for your life and then moving towards it. So we'll show you what it is. So year, it happens within the year. Inspiring. When you think of it, you feel like you can actually feel excited. Like you know you got the right thing when you're like, oh, I'm going to do this year. And you can feel that excitement. And maybe it's an edge. Maybe there's just a little bit of fear there as well. Defining. This is an experience that when you look on back on, you'll be able to say, remember that year when. You probably already have events and experiences like this in your life that you've lived. And this is getting more intentional, more conscious about making sure those continue to happen. And finally, an event. This isn't a habit or a recurring circumstance. This represents a unique experience over a very specific time with a start and event and an end. And like any event, it takes some time, some commitment to plan so it goes properly. So that's what it is. Myself a tiny bit bigger here. Here's some great examples. You might actually go and do a traditional misoki in Japan. Participate in an Ironman, right? Go on an epic trip with my 11-year-old. That is the one I chose this year. Attend Burning Man. Live in a monastery. Maybe participate in a meditation retreat. So you can see with these examples, depending on your age and your stage and your interests, you pick something that's defining for you, that you'll look back and say, I did that. Here's some not so great examples. This isn't about buying things, right? Getting a Porsche or achieving a certain milestone, like earning 6 figures. That's not what this is about. This is about experiences, not things. It's about the journey, not the outcome, right? YIDEs are events, right? You're inspiring, defining events. So it's not just something that just happens without you having to plan or commit to, like turning 40, which happened for me recently. So do the sniff test when you're brainstorming and picking. Like, this is fun, you know, list those things that you want to do and make sure that you feel really excited about the thing that you pick. It should represent who you are and what you care about. If it pushes an edge, gets you a little bit outside of that comfort zone, that is a good thing. Look for that. That's where you should feel a little bit scared. It's got to start and a finish within the year, right? Remember, it's an experience, not an item or a thing. and it requires your personal investment and commitment. You got to think and plan towards getting this done. For me, when this was first introduced to me, I didn't have one right away. I'm like, okay, I know my year's coming up. There's a lot of really great things that I'm going to be doing, but what? I felt this pressure, right? This pressure of having to choose this really epic thing. And I woke up one morning and I looked towards the past. What have you done in your life already that maybe without consciously you can be in, oh, remember that time when? That was a really defining year. When I did that, immediately I woke up and I'm like, okay, this year I'm going on an epic adventure with my 11-year-old. I've taken every one of the other kids when they were around the same age on an epic adventure, and this is her year. Shared it with her. I'm super excited. It passes the sniff test in all aspects. So that's my example. You choose your example. Look to your past. Success leaves clues, as the famous Tony once said. Another place to look is who's inspiring you out there. When you read stories, when you're following people, who is doing things that inspire you, and what part about their lives then might you be able to learn from and set for your own initiatives. Now, with that said, remember, this isn't about comparing with the Joneses. It's not about going on Facebook and being like, oh, these people's lives is so much more fabulous and I need to do this. Pick what's in your heart. Pick what's important to you. And that's where it's like, choose people that inspire you with a similar value set, who are going out and taking the steps to live the life that they want, and let that be a guide. Finally, be boundless. So I really recommend start this with a brainstorm list. Get a blank piece of paper and just write down. Even if the thing seems crazy for you and maybe the old you wouldn't have considered doing it, write down as many things on your potential YIDE list that you can do. And more is better here. More is better. Brainstorm, 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 and then look at that list and see if anything really resonates for you for the thing for this year. By doing this, you also have a list to add on to as you have ideas. And next year, around the same planning time, you're going to be that much more ahead because you'll be able to look at that list that you've added to and say, oh, this is the one I'm doing this year. And finally, if you've done all that and you still got bupkis, you still got nothing, and you're kind of feeling kind of crappy about it. It's like, oh, I really want this thing, and you got nothing. That's okay. Take the pressure off. Like, hit the pressure valve. Continue to be open, be curious, pay attention to what's going on around you, to how you're feeling about the different ideas that come in and out of your brain. It will come to you. And when it comes, probably like it did for me the one morning, it's going to smack you. And you're like, boom, that's it. Pay attention to your body resonance in how you feel about the ideas that come across. Pick one that gets you excited. And you'll be beginning your YIDE journey. So that's how to pick your YIDE, your year-defining, inspiring event. Year-inspiring, defining event. This is about taking conscious and purposeful control over your life. So yes, life's going to happen, and all the other things might not be within your control, but you do have choice. And this is about you saying, above all these other things, I'm going to choose this one thing, at least one thing, to define my year this year. So I hope that you'll do that, and I wish you all the best. And send me your YIDE stories. Send me what you decide. I would love to hear, share them, because when you are moving ahead, you become one of those people that are inspiring others. And for me, this year, I'm going to have an epic trip with my 11-year-old, and it will be one of the times of our lives. Take care.